So today we're going to be looking at the Pythagorean theorem, and it seems out of order because we've used Pythagorean theorem sometimes before this year. But really today is more or less a review of the Pythagorean theorem because we're going to be using it for some new material. So if I have two legs, so A and B, that's a 2, okay? If I have two legs, A and B, and then this hypotenuse is C, so if this triangle is a right triangle, then we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? The sum of the squares of the legs of the right triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. That's great. So I could have problems like this where I need to find the missing side. So these are right triangles. It's given. So I know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in this problem here, 2 squared plus root 7 squared is equal to x squared. 2 squared is 4. Root 7 squared, the square root and the square just cancel each other out. So I get 7 is equal to x squared. So if 11 is equal to x squared, I know that x is equal to the square root of 11. We want our answer as a root, not as a decimal, so we're done. Simplest radical form. Now number 2 is tricky because we're not solving for the hypotenuse, but the same approach still applies. So I'm going to have a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Well, a is x, so I get x squared plus 2 squared is equal to the hypotenuse, which is root 14 squared. So I still have x squared, but now it's plus 4 is equal to, yet again, square root and square cancel, 14. So x squared is equal to 10. So I get x is equal to square root of 10. That can't be reduced, so I'm done. Also, it should be noted that when I take a square root, technically it's plus or minus, but because these are distances, these are sides, these are lengths, we never talk about in a negative. So 3, yet again, we are solving for that hypotenuse, so a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So we get 9 squared plus 11 squared is equal to x squared. So 81 plus 121 is equal to x squared. So this is going to be 202 is equal to x squared. And 202, so half of that is 101. So x is equal to the square root of 202, which I don't think can be reduced, so we leave it like that. Then number 4, we get a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So 7 squared plus 4 squared is equal to x squared. Back to find the hypotenuse. So 49 plus 16 is equal to x squared. So we get 65 is equal to x squared. So x is equal to the square root of 65, which we can't. So 65 factors into 5 and 13. Yeah, so we can't reduce this. So none of these we could reduce the radicals for. So you got lucky, but be prepared for that. All right, now we have the converse to the Pythagorean theorem. So this is saying that if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then the triangle is a right triangle. So we have the two legs A, B, and C. We're going to have a right triangle if a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So your questions for that are going to look like this, where here we want to find out if these are a right triangle. So we want to see if a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We want to see if that's true or not. So let's actually set it up. So we get 6 squared plus 13 squared is equal to root 204 squared. So this is 36 plus 13 squared is 269, I want to say. So 13 squared, 169. I have not had enough coffee yet. Equals 204. So 169 plus 36. This is equal to 205. That does not equal 204. So this is not a right triangle. For number 2, we can set up the same approach. So we're going to have, does a squared plus b squared equal c squared? Question. Well, we have square root of 106 squared plus 4 squared is equal to square root of 123 squared. So this is 106 plus 16 is equal to 123. So we actually get here 122 is not equal to 123. So yet again, this is not a right triangle. They look like right triangles, but they're not. So for this one, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we get 15 squared plus root 31 squared is equal to 16 squared. So 15 times 15, 15 squared is 225 plus 31, and then 16 squared is going to be 256. 256 does in fact equal 256. So yes, this is a right triangle. Number 4, a squared plus b squared, does it equal c squared? Well, what we're going to have is 9 squared plus root 26 squared is equal to root 107 squared. So we get 81 plus 26 is equal to 107. Add these together, we get 107 equals 107. So 2 no's, 2 yeses. So that's all you need to do to show if something's a right triangle or not. Use the Pythagorean theorem and see if it works. If it does, it's a right triangle. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so that covers today's lesson.